Good morning, guys. This is Mr. Horton. You know, there's an old saying, and I like old sayings. Technology is great until it isn't. Then what do you do? Answer, well, we just have to find a new way. Now, the technology I'm referring to here is the thing that I have been using for years, and that is email. And so I am looking at my email now, and I sent you a short email this morning. And out of 100 plus emails that I sent out, I received 94 back. I don't know what's wrong. Perhaps your email is seeing my email as junk mail and therefore putting it in the clutter folder. If you have a clutter folder, if you have a junk email folder, you might want to look in there to see it. So what we're going to do from this point forward, aside from I'll still send emails, although it's it's kind of discouraging. It's kind of discouraging to get those emails back. What I would recommend, I'm also then going to cut and paste the email, and I will put the email in Canvas under assignments. I mean, I hate to admit that I'm depending upon Canvas so much, but it's quite true. Therefore, having said that, I also hate to admit that, I still consider myself a novice as far as using Canvas. Although I, have been, it's kind of like we're building the airplane. I'm building the airplane while we're in flight. Yes, so I'm going to put emails that I send you on Canvas under assignments. Okay. And so you look at those, and this morning I've already uploaded one assignment. Well, I uploaded one. It's the rubric. It's this, which you should have seen already. In fact, we're going to discuss that a little bit later on today. Today is April 14th. Today, I believe, is the day that Abraham Lincoln was shot. April 12th is the day that the Titanic sunk. But I think that April 14th is the day that Abraham Lincoln was shot in 1865. But anyway, back to the matter at hand. So we're going to look at the rubric, and you should be able to find that rubric in today on Canvas in assignments. And I heard somebody say that he couldn't download the link. Well, I just downloaded it, and I printed it off from here. And so I don't think that should be a problem of downloading. So, Mr. Culver, I hope that doesn't. I hope that helps your question. So it's in assignments. If you are having further difficulty, please contact me. I'll think of something. I'll call the gurus at Ryle on Canvas and say, hey, what's going on? Now, second item that if you did not get yesterday, it's not moving. And that is Friday. You have a 55-minute review test. It is 100 questions. Yeah, I know that's a lot, but a lot of them you'll fly through like this. And there's a time limit on the AP exam. And so, time limits is something you have to get used to. Pressure is something you have to get used to because, and I'm going to figure out, by the way, a way to assign you a DBQ like the ones that you're going to be given and give you a 45-minute time limit for you to take that DBQ and submit it back to me. I will figure that out before we have to take the real thing in 30 days, 29 days actually. And so, yeah. Also, regarding announcements, and I'm going out of order here. Remember, in fact, let me look at yesterday's email to make sure I won't get everything. Okay, yeah, yeah. Let me go over these announcements again from yesterday's email. Number one announcement from yesterday's email. Would you like to opt out of taking the AP Euro exam? And I mean, you can do that. Yes, that means you don't have to take it if you don't want to. Basically, what the College Board is doing is they're, to be real honest between me and you, this AP Euro exam that they have this year is a sham, in my opinion. It is not an adequate measure of what students have learned. However, the College Board had one of two choices. They could either just simply cancel the examination, and oh yes, they would have to mail back millions of checks, each worth $94. Yeah. Or they could do this, and to make it attractive, they, of course, truncated the exam. They made the exam smaller, and so for a lot of you students, yeah, it's an opportunity, and I think you should take the test because in normal years, you would be taking this test for 3 hours and like 20 minutes, and it would be grueling physically as well as mentally. But here, if you take this 45-minute exam and you do better than 40% of the country on it, you get 3 hours of college credit or 6 hours of college credit, depending upon the university. And so, that's what's happening, guys. Machiavelli is right. Again, what matters is sex, money, and power. And in this case, it's money. And the College Board, in my humble opinion, and I have a right to my opinion, they didn't want to mail out, how many million, I'm going to turn that off. They didn't want to mail out millions upon millions of these $94 checks to you. But they also, to cover themselves legally, are offering you this one-time only chance to, if you want the money back, they'll give it to you. So would you like to, the email reads, would you like to not take the exam, get a refund of your deposit? But to do that, make that process, I have to know by Monday, the 20th. Would you, and I think you should take the exam. I think it's, normally you'd be taking an exam that would be harder to pass. This one will not be as hard to pass. So I think you should take the exam. And so, yeah. But if you don't want to take the exam, I need to know by Monday so I can tell Miss Coleman. Okay. All right. Number 2. Please notice that your next assignment is this review test that I have prepared for this Friday, April 17th from 7 a.m. until 11:59 p.m. And once again, I mean, this is a review test. It covers much of the first 3 quarters of the year. There's a lot of French Revolution questions on it, for example. There's a lot of questions from the Enlightenment. There's a lot of questions about Louis XIV on it. There's a lot of questions from the wars on religion on it. And you know what? If you do terrible on it, there's going to be another one next Friday. We're going to do this. We're going to review because the DBQ, yes, they give you 5 documents, but it is also a test of what you know. You have to know something about the argument you're making, But anyway, so this test Friday is composed of 100 objective questions that I comprise myself. They're not out of they're from your study guides, guys. And you'll have 55 minutes to complete the test. My intent to have a test like this on every Friday up until the week of the exam. And remember that not 1, but 2 points of this new modified AP European rubric is for outside information. The sorts of information that comes from just knowing stuff. And stuff is what this little review test, I say little, it's 100 questions, details from the totality of the year. And as you know, the assignment number 3, the rubric for the 1 DBQ has changed. Now there are only 5 documents, but the scoring has changed. Instead of our normal 7-point rubric I've been referring to since the beginning of the year, there is now a 10-point rubric. Okay. A 10-point rubric that is scored differently. The biggest primary change is that you can garner 5 points from the use of documents and 2 points from outside relevant information. I mean, that's really the only changes. But it's a significant change, and we'll get to it. 4, ton of information. And I have been doing a ton of research over spring break. I mean, I put myself through like about 7 or 8 Tom Ritchie review videos. And these Tom Ritchie videos are available to anybody. Please don't let me be the only person that sends you these Tom Ritchie videos and say, since Mr. Horton says it, it's the only thing that I have to study. I mean, Tom Ritchie, the guy's in love with his own voice. And so he is very thorough. I actually liked listening to them because it corroborated what I was already teaching. I hope we all know what that word corroborates means. You say, well, okay, what does that mean, Mr. Horton? See, here's the thing. Even though my alter egos, Johnny Be Good, and of course, Hortak, my cousin Hortak, the Magnificent, like to believe they know everything, or at least make you think they would know everything. I'm always worrying because I teach the best students there are in the school. I'm always worrying, am I equipping you with the right information? And to be real honest, listening to Tom, now is he Tom Terrific or whatever? The Tom Brady of AP Euro? No, but I have to say I'm impressed with the guy. But hearing him basically talk about the same thing, like for example, if you listen to his Religious Wars, the 30 Years War lecture, it begins with the Defenestration of Prague. Defenestration of Prague. Come on, can you remember what that is? defenestration of Prague. Basically, the Holy Roman Emperor, after a group of Protestants in what is now Prague in the Czech Republic began disagreeing with them, the Holy Roman Emperor sent down a bunch of his representatives to have a meeting with these guys to see if they could basically get the representatives of the Protestants in Prague to fall into line. Well, the discussion went south, and they were in a building that was like about 6 stories up by modern estimations. About 6 stories up, and they got so mad they threw these guys out the window of this 6-story building, which should have resulted in their death. And they didn't die. I mean, it should have killed them. And, you know, the Catholics, the Holy Roman Emperor and his cohorts said it was a miracle. It was God saving these representatives of ours because they had God's message. That's why they didn't die. But the Protestant said that's not why they didn't die. They didn't die because they fell into a giant heap of when they were cleaning the streets. Know that you're studying the right thing. And it's good to know. And so, you know, you should listen to the Tom Ritchie videos and listen to my videos. And you should study your study guides, which, of course, once again, if you look at Canvas under assignments, if you have misplaced some of the old study guides, they're right there. Yes. Everyone that we went over so far is right there. Okay. And it's a tremendous, as we review, it is really a tremendous amount of information. A tremendous amount, but only 75% of what normally students are supposed to learn. But still, it's a tremendous amount of information for one question. And I still believe that that question is going to not be on one subject. Like, for example, the Napoleon DBQ, whether he supported or undermined the French Revolution. I don't think it'll be like that. Or the Otto von Bismarck DBQ, where, you know, talk about the new conservatism under Otto von Bismarck. That won't be like that. I believe that'll be a DBQ that will span centuries. Themes. For example, anti-Semitism might be a theme, or actually any kind of racial discrimination might be a theme, or slavery, the condition of slavery over the centuries might be a theme, economics. And so, you know, you gotta know stuff and be able to translate that stuff into the DBQ. Now, getting back to, once again, hopefully you remember that you got to make a decision here as you approach the date. Are you better at typing? You know, when I was your age, I couldn't type. And I'm sure I told you this, that the only course in high school I ever deserved to fail was typing. No, not PE. Nor, I didn't take vocational shop, although I'm sure if I'd taken that, I would have failed. But you know, typing, because I was terrible at it. And since then, I've actually become very good at it. But if you are Mr. You might want to think about simply writing the DBQ on a paper and then photographing said DBQ and then sending that in. You should do whatever makes you faster. And I also want to continue to advocate that you tell the reader what he should be looking for in the DBQ. You know, tell the reader where is the context. Tell the reader where is the thesis. Because what they're going to do, there is not going to be any big meeting in Kansas City or in Cincinnati or in Salt Lake City or any of those places this summer. The papers, the test will be graded online. If they offer me a chance to do that, I'll probably do it, and I will hate every minute of it. But the point I'm making here is not to make you sorry for me. The point I'm making here is that your essays will still be read by somebody who'll probably be the only person that reads yours. Say again, your essay will probably be read by one person and one person only. And if that person is sitting at home and, the kids distracting, yeah, or the dog needs to go for a walk, or the neighbor's running the lawnmower or something like that, it won't be the sterile environment of Kansas City where you're trapped in this giant hall with everybody else all doing the same thing and there's pretty much quiet. It won't be like that. It'll be graded in homes where, trust me, if you're an AP reader and there are rugrats running around, you won't be able to keep them from interfering with the reader. And make the grading as easy as possible for the reader. Point out where you should get the points for the reader. Because we're talking about money now. Now, I'm not talking about the $94 you're investing in this. We're talking, although that's part of it, we're talking about the money that in 45 minutes you could pick up, 3 to 6 hours. So it's worth doing a good job on this. Okay. Now let's get back. Let's have a look at let's just look at the rubric, and please look at Tom. I can't believe Tom Ritchie talks for an hour about this. He actually talks longer than it will take to take the test. Now, contextualization. See, this is one reason why I value nerd power. This is one reason why I value your ability to know stuff. You read the question, right? And the first thing you want to do is ask yourself, what do I know about this question? And, to write the context, you simply set the stage. To write the context, once again, my favorite example of this is when you watch any Star Wars movie. Before the movie, there's this scrolling diction, this scrolling story. It basically tells what the state of the rebellion is, what has happened since you last watched the last episode of Star Wars. And that's what context is. You somehow set the stage, but it has to be specific to the prompt. It has to be specific to the question. You can't, for example, if you're asked a question about, I don't know, about Christianity, the role of Christianity, which role of Christianity could be a theme in Europe. If you're asked about Christianity, it probably wouldn't be a good thing to start with the birth of Jesus. Too general, too broad. I mean, you might mention it the birth of Jesus. The Christian religion became the largest, most dominant religion of Europe, and might go into that kind of thing, setting the stage, talking about how it caused the Crusades was caused the Crusades or something like that. But general information setting the stage for the question. And a lot of you guys, once again, Tom Ritchie, and it says this, and I agree with him. Don't shortchange this. Don't make it a sentence. I mean, it has to be minimum. Your context, minimum 3 sentences. Okay? 3 sentences. Okay, and that's what you begin with. And that's in that first paragraph. Now, you're at the bottom of that paragraph, and the whole thing is your thesis, which is how are you going to answer the question? And your answer to the question. It has to be, you have to address the question they asked you on the test and within the thesis. And it has to be historically defensible, meaning you cannot say that aliens did it. You see, it has to be historically defensible, meaning that, it could have happened. And the good thesis shows some conflict. I mean, not conflict, but at the end, it shows you want in the thesis, you want to tell the reader, I'm going to take you on a journey in answering this. And this was, you say that Martin Luther did this, this, and this, but he also did some things that conflicted with that. He also did some things that contradicted that. Anyway, now, and that's your thesis. That's 2 points. You can get that. Unfortunately, whereas in the old system, if you were at 2 points, you were halfway to the promised land. Now, I think to get some kind of a winning score, you have to get at least 6 of these 10 points. So that leads us to the documents. Once again, notice that in the documents, there are only 5, okay? And to get this point, okay, it's called describing the documents. You only have to describe at least 2 documents. And you know what? That's it. They only ask for that because that's the easiest thing to do. Is just to say, in a nutshell, what 2 documents say. If you accurately describe what 2 of the documents say, you will get that point, but only 1. Now, then here's where the changes begin, okay? Right here, where it says, it calls it supporting an argument in response. And here's where the change is. What does that mean, to support an argument in response? To take this thesis. To get 1 point, you have to do that for at least 2 of the documents. Do it for 5. Relate all 5 of the documents to your thesis. Why, Mr. Harden? Are you just being a jerk? No. But you need insurance. What if you misinterpret one? And by the way, if you use the documents in support of your thesis, you will naturally describe the documents. So you no longer have to worry about that first point, describing. So you'll get describing the document as well as supporting the document by doing this in one fell swoop. Okay. Now, these 2 points where it says it calls it explaining the documents. And you should do this. You try to do this for all 5 documents. Try to do it. Remember, I always tell you that when you look at these documents, the first thing you do is not to read the documents. Say again, when they'll supply you with documents, the first thing you do when you look at them is not to read the body of the documents, which is what everybody tends to do. The first thing you do is you look at either the top of the document, if there's a title, or the bottom of the document, which is normally where the gold is, to find out who said it, okay? And by who, it doesn't just mean his name, but, it means what position did he occupy? Was he an official of the Austrian government? Was this a newspaper editor? Okay. Who said it? Why did he say it? In other words, was he operating under some kind of bias? And finally, who's he talking to? Who is his audience? Okay. 3 W's. I think that's pretty sufficient. Other people use HIPAA and all this kind of stuff. I never like those big anachronisms. Go with the 3 W's. Who said it? And by who, once again, doesn't just mean his name. Who means, what position does he have in some organization? Is he acting within his job or her job when he describes this? For example, it might just be one of your documents might just be a cartoon. Well, where did the cartoon appear? Did it appear in a satirical magazine? Did it appear in maps? Same thing. Somebody had to put the map in there. It had to appear in a textbook. Okay, now, who said it? Why did they say it? What's the purpose of this person making the speech? What's the purpose of this cartoon? Is it satire? Is it to draw attention to a unfortunate situation? For example, Jonathan Swift's A Modest Proposal, where he suggests that the Irish people should sell their children so the English could eat them, and that way the Irish would have fewer children to pay for, and they would have money, and it goes off and all this tangent of good ways to serve infancy. You have to see that, and and then finally, who are they talking to? Who's the intended audience here? And so now look what it says though. To get 1 point, you do that for 2 of the documents. To get 2 points, you have to do that for 4 of the documents. Once again, do that for all 5 documents. And because you might miss one. You might miss one. It is also worth noting that these will be the middle 2 paragraphs. Use your description of the documents. This is the first paragraph talking about the documents and their content and their sourcing and how they agreed with your thesis. That's the middle 2 documents, okay? The middle 2. And group the documents, okay? Put the documents together that tend to agree with each other. They will not all agree with each other. So group them in paragraphs that agree with each other. Now we get down here, another change. Outside information. Outside information, I would start a new paragraph here. Outside information, and label it. I said, hey, stupid, quit paying attention to your kids and read my essay. here's something that I know because Horton taught me. And I'm just really smart. And that is outside information, something that is not, you didn't put in the context, that was not in the documents, that does not appear in any other part of the paper. Two individual points of outside information, you see. And that's why I place such a high value on just learning minutia, such as April 12th was the day the Titanic went down, such as April 14th was the day that Abraham Lincoln was shot. You know, minutia, small things that are relevant to the question, You can't just pull down trivia. And then finally, the last point is the complex understanding point, where they give you these. Now, Tom Ritchie, if you look at this, and I sent you this, I hope that you have it on your computer screen as you're listening to me. Tom Ritchie says that if you look at the second bullet, he says that's the best one, explaining both similarity and differences, both continuity and change, or multiple causes, or both causes and effects. In other words, if you can show some complexity, you know, go back to your thesis statement. This is where your thesis statement counts so much. You know, Martin Luther did this, this, and this, which all those things seem to make logic that he would be logical. They would do those things because they all are similar. And then he turned around and did this, which conflicts with the other things. You know, see, it shows that history is not a simple equation. Me, you know, even though nobody seems like it, I still like explaining relevant, insightful connections within and across time periods. You know, if you can show that this thing that happened in the question also happened at another point in time, you know, that's could be worthy. That could help you. And once again, you know, what will it take? What will it take to get me the scores? And Tom Ritchie talks about this, and I have to agree with him here. Of course, a 10 is going to get you a 5. And, you know, probably about 5 to 7% of the 100,000 people that take the test across this country will receive a 10 out of 10. So a 10 will get you a 5, but also a 9 will get you a 5. In other words, not 9 of these points here, and maybe an 8 will get you, you know, a 5. Then what'll get you a 4? Feel very confident. 7 and 8 will get you a 4. A 3, 6. After that, you know, and like I said, I'm going to figure out how to do this and make you do an at-home DBQ for points, and you, which we have to go back over. But I have also included Tom Ritchie's review of the Renaissance period that you should look at, so you could predate that. You know, it's a test that covers the entire year. It's one question that covers the entire year. In me for today. I hope that you all are okay. And I do miss you all. And one day life will be normal again. But it won't be tomorrow. So have a good day. I'm going to sign out now.